Hello everyone and welcome to Millicraft. In today's tutorial we are going to be doing a blaze spawner build. We're going to make it easy, we're going to make it simple and as safe as possible. As possible as safe can be when we're talking about blazes, obviously. We're going to do this in two parts. First part, we're going to take a look and show you what the shape, what the size, what it's going to look like, where you're going to find it, and the best case scenario of the safest way to find a blaze spawner. And then the second part, I'm going to show you a time lapse of me actually building one in survival in a time lapse. So let's get started. Let's look at Blazes 101. First off, blazes can only be found in nether fortresses. They can spawn naturally in a nether fortress without a spawner, but you're going to find the most of them hanging out in this little box of nether bricks. And sometimes it's going to just be open wide on a large platform. Sometimes you're going to find like a little cubed area before you find it, but ultimately it's always going to look like this. There's always going to be like a fence. There's always going to be like this little archy thing, and you're going to find a staircase leading up to it. Now, the best scenario for finding one of these is having it buried. Now, if you find one of these buried in netherrack, that's what we're actually going to be doing the tutorial on today. But if you don't find one and you can't find one that's buried, no fret. What you're going to need to do, though, is you're going to need to cap it from this top point of fences. So if you were to have nether brick or netherrack even, you're just going to want to cap it off right like that, so that you're going to have it capped and give it a roof. The more you have a roof on this thing and walls, the safer it is going to be. So if you find a netherrack buried one, you're going to find a room that's only just about this size. It's going to be very tight quarters, and it will be the easiest one to do. So in the time lapse that you'll see that it is completely buried in netherrack, so I'm going to be digging it out. And it does have a little bit of a gap here, so blazes can get from here down into the lower portion of this thing that we're going to be doing. So you'll keep that in mind. Now, the first thing that you have to do for one of these blaze spawners is I always cap it off and make sure that you are going to have a safe working environment for the majority of your stay in this nasty fortress. So you're going to make sure to block off the entrance where you originally spawned in or found it and walked up to it. You're going to also block off these edges on both sides right here. So hopefully, and then if all goes well and the netherrack is actually up against this area here, you probably won't have to worry about like the blazes jumping over the fence, but make sure that you've secured this little square all by itself. Lights are not going to help, just like on the overworld, zombies and skeletons and spiders can be neutralized with a torch. Now, they'll slow them down a little bit, but really not. So don't depend on a torch from stopping these guys from spawning. They are going to continually spawn, and I have them shut off right now because we are in peaceful, but they will continuously spawn and fill up this room. So make sure that you are very safe when you're doing it by sealing up any cracks for them to slip through while we're doing the actual farm. These are the supplies that you are going to need for today's tutorial. One is a building block of some sort. It could be netherrack. If it's buried in netherrack, you're already going to have a whole bunch. It could be nether brick. It could be any other non-flammable substance, so any kind of stone, etc. You're probably going to want about 6 hoppers to capture the blaze rods. You can do this farm with 3, but I would recommend 6. There's a better landing platform for them. You'll also want at least 1 chest for those hoppers to go into. You can expand on that chest later and make it a double chest or larger. Add more chests if you're going to store all of your blaze rods there. You're going to need 4 buckets of lava This farm works very similarly to some other water wash farms that pushes the mob toward our kill area. And in this case, blazes need lava to be able to flow, and they will not die with a lava, and we can't put water in the nether, so that's why we're going to use lava buckets. We're also going to use about 6 fence gates. They need to be either warped or crimson wood so they don't burn. If you have fire tick off, you could use regular fence gates in this, but I just recommend using the nether woods because they are not flammable whatsoever. So in case it accidentally got turned on, your whole farm wouldn't burn down. And also 3 to 6 trap doors of the nether wood. I would also recommend having half slabs or something along those lines to help filter the XP towards you. So since carpet is a burnable object, having a netherwood slab over the hoppers will help direct the XP towards you, and the hoppers will still be able to collect the blaze rods. Now, the last 2 items on our list, obviously you're going to need a pickaxe to be able to dig out all of the brick that we're going to be taking out of this, and also digging out the netherrack if you have one buried. You might want to also have fire resist potions. I recommend having the 8-minute ones. I would recommend definitely having at least 3, if not more, on you during this whole thing. The first half of the dig out, you probably won't need this, but for the second half, when we actually release the blazes into the full farm itself, you will 100% need this. And when you start to put the lava in the farm and you fall in on accident, you are definitely going to want that on you. Now, blazes can still bite, they can still hit you, but with the fireballs, a fire resist potion will keep you safe. The last 3 items on the list are optional. One is glass. If you want to look inside this farm, you can use any kind of glass. You do not have to use a tinted glass. You can use a colored glass. You can use clear glass. Lighting is not going to be a factor in this. The whole thing is going to be lit up bright with the lava and the blaze spawn, like the blazes and the spawner itself. So you can use any kind of glass if you want to look in and see what's going on. You can also use fancier block than the netherrack will be digging out if you want to be able to look in and see it all one color. And you'll want to have a looting sword of some sort to be able to get more of the blaze rods. All right, so we find ourselves in the fortress we are looking for. Fortresses are scary, spooky places. We have this one lit up. This one's on the Craftworks SMP server. It has the netherrack build that we want, and you're gonna have to search for it. You're gonna have to look through all these corridors. Watch out for all of the different mobs that can spawn here. Piglins, zombie piglins, skeletons, wither skeletons. Goodness gracious. The blazes, obviously, and cubes, the magma cubes. The magma cubes are the things you're gonna look for to be able to make your fire resist potion. So you do want to find that, and obviously you'll have to find the blaze spawner and get some blaze rods before you can actually brew up the potion for the first time. But once you find it, make yourself a path, make yourself a safety path to get back and forth. 2 blocks on the 3rd high can save you from withers. It won't save you from blazes just spawning anywhere in the hallways, but the lighting will help a little bit. And then once you find yourself the spawner that is completely buried, like I mentioned, you're going to want to seal it off. And before we take a look at the finished product here, we are going to go into the time lapse, and I will show you how I built it in as safe as possible. And I didn't die. I promise you, I didn't die during this whole thing. And I actually only needed 2 potions that were 8 minutes long, because I've done this before, like 4 or 5 times. But the 3rd or 4th potion, depending on how long it takes you, is perfectly fine. I think it took me 4 or 5 the first time that I did this. So let's get started. For this tutorial, I have surrounded this blaze spawner as we would find it surrounded in netherrack if this particular blaze spawner was buried in the ground somewhere in the nether. Now, if you have found one of these out and about, and you can come through and completely cover it up like this, more power to you. I don't like to do that. Usually I'll avoid the spawners that have open air tops and sides to them, or if at least 2/3 of them are like covered up in some way. I might cover up one side, but they are going to be a lot harder to do if any of this is open. So say you're running through a fortress and you stumble upon one of these, you're going to want to seal off this wall first. And that way, none of these blazes can get out. We'll want to make sure that they are completely sealed off and sealed in. So now that we have it perfectly sealed in, we're going to kind of come in and see where that first stair is. Now, you're going to count from 4 from that stair, so be very, very careful. But if you leave one block open, the blazes are not going to be able to get you. At least they can shoot you, but they can't come out of there. So once you see where that first block is, you go, okay, it's going to be 2 back from here. And then you're going to seal it off and go, okay, 1, 2 back. So we know where that is. So that's the second stair right there. And then if we count back, we're going to count 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you should be able to find the spawner directly above. So once you know exactly where the spawner is, I always mark it with a torch temporarily to know where that spawner is. You can mark it with whatever, some other kind of block. We want to know where that spawner is from this point forward. Now we're going to dig out everything but the last. We're going to dig out everything underneath these blocks that are right underneath the spawner. And you're going to do it 4 out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're gonna want to make sure you're very quick and you'll seal all of this in just so that they can't get to you while you're doing this whole thing. And sometimes I'll come up like that and just, if you're quick, you can do it without letting them out. If you're not quick, you might need to drink your fire resist potion at that point. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you're gonna want to do that in all 4 directions. So I usually like leave that one there, and then that one's 1, and then 2, and then you see 3 and 4. Usually when you come out here and it's a buried one, this is where the netherrack is going to be. So you might have to dig into a layer of netherrack, or it might be perfectly lined up and then you just have to dig in the other directions. So once we know where that is, we got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Same here, so the netherrack would kind of come down right in here. Now let's jump into the actual survival version. I have dug out a 4x4 section, so you have it in 4x4 in all directions around the torch. The space below the spawner, including the blocks you've left in the floor to keep the blazes safe, should also be 4. The next step is digging up above the floor and removing everything above. And if you act fast enough, you can do it and then replace the floor blocks back down. I'm going to speed up this portion a little bit, but basically I'm taking out every single block that is above the floor and leaving only the floor and the spawner behind. So starting at the block behind the torch, you're going to make a V shape towards the wall where you want the blazes to funnel into. They will be back from the front wall by 1, as you see in this image. Next, you'll dig out 4 blocks. Make sure they are centered in the wall, just like this. Then you're going to dig back into the walkway quite a bit. It's probably going to go about 7 or 8 blocks in, so dig it all out. Ultimately, you want a 3x3 hole going back in about 7 or 8 blocks. From the lowest point of the other room, you're going to want to dig down 3 blocks, and then you're going to want to place your hoppers and your half slabs. On the 4th block up, which is where the lowest portion of that room is, you're going to want to place 6 fence gates that are open. Once all of that is set in place, you may put your 3 lava buckets in the back of the room. Just be careful, drink a fire resist potion. Make sure the fence gates are in place and open so you can run through them and escape before the lava flows. Here's one last look of how the fence gates and the slabs look above the hoppers, and you'll need to place another 3 trapdoors will go immediately above the slabs and a line of blocks above that. Now for the most dangerous part, drink your fire resist potion and get ready to clear the blazes so we can remove the floor from the room. Now the fire charges that blazes throw at you will not hurt you with a fire resist potion, so just be careful not to get too close, hit them to get them further away from you. And also try not to step in any fire that they throw on the floor, because that can block your vision if you have flames on. I had to fill a corner of the room and a few missing blocks that I'd accidentally knocked out from below. Here's the corner I really couldn't reach from below, so I had to come up here to fill in this final gap. Unfortunately, torches or fire does not keep them from spawning, nor my vicinity to the spawners, so just work quickly. With the room sealed off, I had a brief moment of no blazes, so I started removing the floor. Ow! Thankfully, I just drank a new potion, so this lava didn't affect me when I fell into it, and I had left myself an opening down below to quickly escape. Ow! As you can see here, the blazes like to sit on the spawner, so make sure you block it off all the way up to the ceiling. Now for a quick little time lapse of me finishing out removing the rest of the floor. As you can see, I'm going to have to remove that middle pillar all the way down, and I actually dug out too far on the wall, so I'll have to fill that in at the end too. What's kind of cool is that you can see the blazes are already getting trapped down in the chamber that we will use to kill them here shortly. And we're pretty much done as soon as I sealed up the last few blocks of that final wall.
I get it.
You might be able to hear them sending off a couple of fire charges at me. If you're at the far right or far left of the platform, they might still be able to see you, so just be careful. Alright, as you saw from the time-lapse, things were finished, but not quite finished all the way. Now, I basically made a safety area here, so this is a safety area from any wither skeletons that might spawn down these halls. It's not safe from any other mobs that might move in, so I did make sure that I put trap doors or a door. Now, piglins can actually open doors, so just be careful of that. So I put fence gates in to kind of just keep this area safe. And I can also view out to make sure there's no mobs wandering around out there before I leave. Stairs down here are perfectly safe from spawns, and then I lit the rest of the room up. And as you can see, after the time lapse, I added the glass. I needed to go get the glass, but this gives you a good idea of the setup here. So once you have the platform of all of the lava coming in, you have your 6 trapdoors open. Underneath that, you're gonna have, so it's like 2 blocks down to the glass. The 3rd block down is your trapdoors. The 4th block down is your slabs, which you'll put in after you put in the 6 hoppers. So this gives us an entire platform right here to which to do this. Now you do have to be careful because they can't shoot you from the corners there. But they can't set the thing on fire because of these half slabs, which is nice. And as you notice, the XP rolls right off these half slabs into me. So I get my XP from that. Now, we could make the trapdoors up higher if you really needed to get in there, but I would not put the trapdoors up. You could, it's dangerous, but if you needed to get them out for some reason, like if you had some kind of reason for moving mobs somewhere, you could get them out. Now, one little chest is probably more than enough. I've AFK'd this for about an hour, and I've already taken 4 or 5 stacks out of here, and this was just in the last, like, 10 minutes or so before recording this. So, plenty of blaze rods. If you have a mob head mod on, or data pack on, you can get their mob heads, and they're very cute. I love the blaze mod heads. You will want to turn the volume down. And as you can see through the glass now, like, this is perfectly safe to look. You can see, like, I did not decorate this. I could have decorated it. It would have taken twice as long to replace all of the netherrack blocks. But that ceiling is the ceiling that spawned in. And then I just put in a couple blocks to make sure that they won't, like, sit up there. Because they will sit up there. And then, yeah, like, the lava kind of, it comes down. They want me. They get pushed down by the lava, and once they kind of get all down in there, they want to come to the one open spot, which they think is open, but then they can't. So they're just going to push on down. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you managed to make this farm and if you like this design, and I hope you're able to make use of it. And as you can see by the chat, yeah, I'm on the SNP. Like, we're on Craftverse together, and everybody is chatting away in the chat. So I love you all very, very much. Give yourselves a hug for me. If you like this tutorial and you want to see more like it, please subscribe. I also have memberships, and I'm gonna flash up the names of all the members of this channel right now. Over there. Right there. See it? See it right there? Yep. Yep. These are members of the channel. They get to see these tutorials and some of my videos early, you know, provided I remember I can get them out early. You'll see them once they're ready to go, before they're actually scheduled to go up usually. And you get a couple little icons next to your name. You get super chats when I stream, that kind of thing. So check it out. And I would love to see you all if you like this kind of content. I love more suggestions. We also have the Craftworks SMP Discord. We have merch over there too. I'm going to stop promoting the SMP for a minute and just promote me. Come on, let me know what kinds of tutorials you would like to see next. I like playing it safe. I like playing things safe. So if you want to see more safety-ish tutorials or safe-ish things, let me know. And I will see you all very, very soon. We are probably going to go on a cadence of tutorials about once a month now that the SMP has started back up. So I hope you don't mind. I will try to get some new things coming out from the gray box. So we will see you next time. Bye, everyone. Have a great day. Hugs for me. Bye. These are so noisy. So noisy. Ugh. And I have my sound down and everything, and there's so many of them. And I need sweeping touch. I mean, I need sweeping edge. That would probably help this thing go a lot faster. Maybe sharpness 5 too. Glad to have this done.